Hello, YouTube. My name is Alex, and I decided to start a motivational speaking channel about mental illness in the LGBTQ community. I am gay. I am a proud, openly gay black man, and I have been recently diagnosed with bipolar II disorder and with mild symptoms of BPD. I'm making this video not because I'm ashamed or embarrassed, but because I want to bring awareness of what bipolar disorder truly is, because I think that our only examples of what bipolar II disorder, or just bipolar disorder in general, it's always the Ians from Shameless or Maggie from Homeland. It's just always something negative, and they always think that every person with bipolar disorder needs lithium or just something like that, and it's nothing like that. It's truly it's a mental battle every single day you wake up in the morning. How can I tell that I'm about to go into a hypomanic episode? Because there's a difference between hypomania and mania. When you're hypomanic, they can happen more often than mania. It's like you have one big manic episode, and then you have these little mini manic episodes, but they happen more often. And the borderline personality disorder is not what you think. It's not Glenn Close from Fatal Attraction or Ali Laudner in Obsessed. It's nothing like that. It's actually a very sad disorder and a strong fear of abandonment. I think that why I have symptoms of it is because I feel empty a lot. Emptiness is a symptom of it. Hopelessness, impulsivity. Impulsivity also comorbids with bipolar II disorder. There's some days I'm a little bit more promiscuous than others. I'm very embarrassed to say it, but it's the truth. There are some days that I literally don't want to get up out of bed, but I have to force myself to because I have a dog to take care of. There are some days where I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to class. I literally don't want to do anything at all. I just want to lay in bed and feel sorry for myself. And for those that probably know me in my personal life, that's not really the type of person that I am. I'm very vibrant and happy and jovial, and I think I wanted to not only bring awareness to bipolar disorder in general, but to bring just awareness to mental health and how important and serious and real it is. It's not a game. It's nothing to play with. It's nothing to take lightly because it's real. I will probably, I'm going to be bipolar for the rest of my life. This is a lifelong mental illness, and so is BPD. I know it's going to be harder for me to fall in love. I know it's going to be harder for me to have a family and children and things of that nature. I know it's going to be harder for me, period. I thought it was hard just as a black gay man, but now I'm a mentally ill black gay man, which I am dealing with, by the way. I was prescribed Lamictal, which is a very effective medication. I remember when I first started taking it, it felt like I was taking poison, but now I've been on it for a few months now, so it's not really so bad. They gave me hydroxyzine for my anxiety, which really helps. I'm not gonna lie. So if you think you're bipolar, or if you think you know somebody who is bipolar or has BPD, I think these are the things that you should do. You should tell that person or tell yourself to see your local psychiatrist and to look up the symptoms. I can go through some of the symptoms. So when you're in a depressive episode, you feel empty, you feel lonely, you feel guilt, you feel like you're literally drowning in a sea of emotions. Like, you want to be happy, but you literally just can't. You want to do things, but you literally just can't. Like, you literally just lay in bed all day. Now, I'm not going to lie. Everyone with BPD, Bipolar 2, Bipolar 1 is completely different. Not every single person is the same. Not only that, not everyone handles finding out about mental illness the same way. It's sad, but especially in the Black community, I think we take mental illness for granted. A lot of us, not all of us, because obviously I don't, but a lot of people take being mentally ill for granted, or you're just being an attention whore, or you're just making excuses for your bad behavior, and that's not true. It's not true at all. It is, like I said, it's a daily battle. At least this is a daily battle that I'm fighting. Lord, I thought this was going to be a lot easier than I thought. Symptoms of hypomania and mania. Usually when you're manic, you have psychosis, where you have hallucinations and delusions, where you see things that aren't really there. You do, like, you'll put yourself into like $5,000 of debt or more. You go gambling with your rent money. You'll go and have sex with like 15 people. You'll kind of you'll start doing really dangerous self-harm activities, cutting yourself, putting a gun to your head. You can become very dangerous and irritable, easily annoyed, easily aggravated, easily agitated. Excuse me. It's so many different things. Now, when you're hypomanic, you somewhat feel all those things, but it's not the same. Like, for me, I can't talk about anybody else, but how I know that I'm probably going to have a hypomanic episode is I start talking really fast. I have rapid speech. And some people say I talk fast, some people don't. It really just all depends on who you ask. I start spending money frivolously that I don't need to spend, whether it be my rent money, car note money. I just start spending money. Like, I go shopping. Like, I kind of have a shopping addiction. I do get a little extra promiscuous. There was one time where I had sex with 6 people in one night. I get my anxiety goes crazy. One way I can tell that a hypomanic episode is coming is that I don't sleep. I can go like 3 or 4 days with only about 4 hours of sleep. I start cleaning, rapid cleaning. It's not even funny. Like, if I had gutters, I would clean my gutters, which I don't have gutters because I live in an apartment. I start organizing outfits, putting like so many different outfits together, buying boots, organizing my boots, cleaning my boots. I have a lot of boots. I start I actually get a little creative. I am a singer and a songwriter on an occasion, so I start writing music sometimes. I start writing, I start drawing. I do like to draw. Like I said, I'll stay up all night. I'll play different video games, and I just feel restless. Like, I can't sleep, can't lay down, can't get comfortable, things like that. At least that's what I deal with when I'm going through a hypomanic episode. And then the come down is I feel all this guilt and loneliness and emptiness about everything that I was doing. And it's like I remember everything that I was doing. Like I can speak for like the hypersexuality part, which that's what it's called when you start getting a little extra promiscuous. It's called hypersexuality. Um, it's kind of like I'm watching myself do all these things, and a part of me is like saying stop, 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 but I literally just can't. It's like I have absolutely no control over myself when these at least when my hypersexuality kicks in. So for me, I know I have to take my medication daily. There was a point in time where I didn't want to take it. There was a point in time where I felt like I didn't need to take it. The doctor was wrong, even though I was the one who told him I thought it was bipolar disorder. And then I told him everything I was doing, all my symptoms. At first, I was diagnosed with clinical depression when I first got out of the military. I served in the military for going on 3 years. I got out in a very, very bad, toxic way. That might be another story for another time. I they gave me clinical depression, and he put me on a drug called bupropion, which apparently is highly addictive. I can't speak on that. I never got addicted to it. It honestly made me feel good. It was like one of my feel-good drugs. I used to call it that, but that can increase mania. That can cause mania. I didn't know that. So it was weird. Like I was taking my medication and I still was just, I was like this horny rabbit. It was like I couldn't get enough sex. And I felt guilty every time right afterwards. I felt so guilty. Yeah, so that's, like I said, that's just my bipolar story. I know there's plenty of other people that are living with this mental illness, that I'm not alone, that I am doing it. I am getting better. I am managing, and I am trying to manage pretty well. So I also want to talk about BPD, borderline personality disorder, in depth. Okay, so with BPD, it comorbids with bipolar disorder, but it's actually not the same. I mean, obviously they have two different names, but the difference with bipolar disorder and BPD is that with both of these disorders, you have mood swings, but bipolar disorder is a mood disorder. Borderline personality disorder is a personality disorder. So they're completely and totally different, but they do comorbid. So how they comorbid is impulsivity, emptiness, guilt, hypersexuality, risk-taking behaviors. Like I can even admit, for some of those 6 people that I had sex with, I did not use protection, which is something I would probably never do in my normal everyday life. So, and it's increased risk-taking behavior. I can say that, with BPD at least, you do things that are kind of attention-seeking. You're very clingy. That is true. And it's kind of like you want this relationship with this one person that might really just be toxic as fuck for you, but you still want it with this one person. You keep trying to make it work with this one person, and you're giving your all to somebody who really doesn't deserve it, and a part of you doesn't even want to give your all to them, but it's kind of like you're addicted to them in a way. It's kind of like you're addicted to this person. So that is another aspect of BPD. Like I said, everybody with the same disorder could act completely and totally different. Nobody with the two, you could have 2 different people with the same disorder and they act completely differently. So I never want people to think that it's just this one thing when they think about mental illness and mental health, because it's not. Another thing that I want to talk about, at least this is my first big video, is we need to raise awareness for mental health in the gay community. I didn't realize, but there's so many more gay people with mental illnesses that they don't even know. So I'm gonna tell you guys my story with mental illness, and then I will be heading out. So when I was about 7 years old, I was diagnosed with ADD, which actually is a precursor to bipolar disorder, believe it or not, because you can't be diagnosed with bipolar disorder under the age of 18. So I was put on Adderall, which was very, very healthy. I did better in school. I was able to focus. I did pretty well. Then I dealt with real big outbursts of rage. I used to have such a bad temper that it was just, in a way, it was toxic. I dealt with abandonment issues. I had serious abandonment issues that I literally, it was just so crazy. I felt like I couldn't explain it. They were just so deep rooted and just not good in a way. Well, no, not in a way. They just weren't not. They were just not good. I would go through stages of depression where, like I said, there were just some days I was just sad and I couldn't explain why. Not to mention, I did deal with a low self-esteem at the time because I was severely bullied. Like I said, that might be another video for another day of how to survive bullying and to see yourself at the end of the tunnel. Another thing that I would say is that I went to the military, which was one of the best and worst decisions of my life because I was kind of comfortable with myself. I was kind of happy with who I was. And when I went to the military, it was like everything about me needed to change. And I went from that happy-go-lucky, jovial, sweet, caring, and loving person to a person that I didn't even recognize, where I kept asking myself, what happened to me? I remember asking myself that so many days while I was in the military. What happened to me? And then I was sexually assaulted while I was in. Story for another day. I got out in one of the worst ways possible. I had a very evil NCO, and if that bitch is watching it, I won't say your name because you might try to sue me because you're a pussy ass bitch. But yeah, you know who you are, and if you're watching this. Anyway, I got out to a mother battling cancer. By the way, before I continue, my mother is 2 years cancer free, so thank God for that. I came home to a mother battling cancer, and it was like I was hit with a sea of issues and problems, and it was just a sea of everything. I used sex as an escape. This was when I first got out. I was having sex a lot. I was drinking a lot. I started smoking cigarettes. I was just in this downward spiral, so to speak. I started gaining a lot of weight. I'm kind of losing some of it, but it's not as fast as I want it to, so whatever. It is what it is. Yeah, I just turned into a person that I literally didn't know. And I thought I didn't know myself in the military. I really didn't know myself when I first got out. I was lonely. I was depressed. I was angry. I was sad. I was bitter. I just was not the same person that I thought I was. I went to the VA. Took a while, but I went to the VA, and they at first diagnosed me with PTSD, anxiety, and clinical depression. They rapidly put me on medication, and in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want to take it, and I didn't take it because I didn't think like I needed it, because I felt like a lot of black people, this shit don't happen to us. This shit happen to white people. I was wrong and I was ignorant. Shouldn't have thought like that. Mental illness doesn't have a color preference, just like everything else in life doesn't have a color preference. So, yeah, I realized that was a very dumb decision. So, I'm sorry. Give me a minute. So, I moved to Texas when my mother got a lot better. She spent 6 months in the hospital, which was probably one of the hardest times of my life, which was probably why I was just doing all the things I was doing. Like, I was literally, I can say my body count increased about 25 people during this time. I know that's none of y'all business, but it did. So I just started doing things that were not healthy and that were not conducive to me. I actually even got bounced out of a gay club because I threw a drink in someone's face, and they literally threw me out of the club. I was so volatile at the time. So I got to Texas. Things were going pretty well. Still having sex. Still drinking. Not as badly as I was when I was in Georgia. Finally started to take my medication after burning a few bridges. But I started taking my medication, and I was still going through some of the same symptoms that I was going through before. I was still feeling like I was on an emotional roller coaster all the time. I was still feeling like just off. And then I took my abnormal psychology class at the University of Texas at Arlington. And we were going over bipolar disorder, and it was like so many symptoms. He was just hitting me right on the head, and he was a licensed psychologist, and it was like so many symptoms he was talking about were just hitting me on the head. I was like, wow, I do that. Wow, I've done that. Wow, I do this. Wow, I've done that. And I went to my psychiatrist here and had a very candid and honest conversation with him about everything I was doing. And he even hit me on the head like, why weren't you being honest with me? Why weren't you telling me this? Why weren't you telling me that? Why weren't you doing this? Why weren't you doing that? Which made me feel a whole lot more guilty than I already was feeling. And he told me, yeah, dude, you have bipolar II disorder with mild symptoms of BPD. So fast forward about, it'll be 6 months in March, my birthday month. Well, we're in March. Today's the last day of February. Well, no, tomorrow's the last day of February, but it don't matter. Anyway, 6 months later, I'm on Lamictal. They at first put me on Abilify, which blew me the fuck up. I'm still trying to lose weight from Abilify. I was so fat. I was sick all the time. I literally was like, this shit is poison. I literally was like, this shit is fucking poison. So I got off Abilify. They put me on Lamictal, which has been working. I see my psychiatrist about once a month, which is helping. I have a psychologist that I see every 2 weeks. So I'm taking the necessary steps and precautions that I need to get the career that I want and to do the things that I want to do with my life. So I end this video with this. If you're struggling with any mental illness, whether it be depression, bipolar, BPD, schizophrenia, whatever mental illness that you're dealing with, take care of yourself and come to acceptance with it. I got 3 different opinions, and they all say the same shit. All of them. Every last one of them. So also find the psychiatrist that works for you, that listens to you, because that's something that I think is very important, is that some doctors don't listen to you all the time. So make sure you get a doctor that listens to you. I'll probably make more YouTube videos in the nearby future. I'm just trying to get my YouTube videos off the ground. I will try to make a YouTube video at least once a month. Please subscribe.